garden this morning. Not my general time, my normal time to be in the garden, but I am in the garden this morning because I would like to harvest some potatoes for brunch. So join me while I do a quick harvest before I have my brunch. Okay, the potatoes are looking a little bit worse for the wear. I hope you guys can hear me today. The wind is blowing and my neighbor's dogs are out early this morning. There is no rest for the weary. So I decided to pull this bag because the tops are leaning over. The greens look very tattered and there's some yellowing. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull. I don't know what type of potato is in this bag. I planted a number of different potatoes. If you've seen any of my previous potato hauls, you'll know that I planted several different types of potatoes from several different sources. So I'm not altogether sure what I'm going to get. But all I know is I want some potatoes for brunch this morning. So that is what I'm pulling out today. So I'm just going to see about grabbing the tops while trying to hold on to the bag. I think I may have to do this one at a time. Oh, that's beautiful. I know you guys can't see it yet, but I've got my little bucket over here. I have one little potato right there, and that looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to put him in the bucket. I have another little potato right there. And I have a tiny little bitty one right there. Just going to put that soil as much as I can back into the bag. I don't want to lose any soil. And I'm just going to toss that out of the way. Do the same thing here. Oh, well, that didn't work. That, don't know why that broke off, but that's okay. That's why I have my tote over here. So now that I've cleared the tops, got a tiny little nugget right there. I'm going to take my tote and I'm going to dump this out. It's pretty heavy, so I'm going to have a couple of potatoes in here. Oh, let's see. Ooh, got dirt in my face. Goodness. Alright, that's never fun. Now this bag is pretty old. I've had it about, oh no, I've only had this a year, I want to say. I bought this on sale last season. The bottom is deteriorated. But that's okay. I was up late last night trying to make a few of my very own homemade grow bags. They don't look all that pretty, but we don't need it to be pretty. We need it to be functional. I hope you all can see because the sun is out again. It's about almost 10:25. Not my time to really be out in the garden. So I'm just gonna go through this soil, taking out as much as I can, putting it back in the bag. It does have some roots in it, and it's moist because it rained last night. I think I said that a little while ago. It rained last night, so this soil is very moist. Got a potato right there, a little nugget. I don't know why I didn't check the forecast, but I wasn't expecting rain. This was a seed potato right here, so that's gone. Toss that out the way. as I'm putting soil in this bag, I'm going to take a handful of fertilizer and spread that in there, because I'm going to mix that up. I'm going to reuse this soil. You know, I do not want soil to sit in the garden unused. So I am going to toss that in there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go get my trowel because I don't have it out here with me. I didn't bring it. Oh, wait, potato. Look at that potato. This potato harvest is slightly larger. Let's see if I can tug it. Slightly larger than my previous potato reveal or harvest. This is that root that broke off, and it doesn't appear to have any nuggets on it. It's just a mass of roots and soil. There we go, just a mass of roots and soil. There's a beautiful potato. So this potato is a little bit bigger, and I'm going to put some water on here so you guys can see it better. There, like I said, the soil is really moist. That's a little bit of a seed potato. I'm going to go get my, every time I say I'm going to go get up, I see a potato. Look at that little nugget right there. I'm going to get my trowel, piece of a seed potato. That's probably the same seed potato. So let me go get my trowel, and then I'm going to mix up the soil that I'm putting inside the bag. That way I can distribute the fertilizer, and then I can re-pot up this bag later on this afternoon. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I went and got my plastic trowel because my favorite one that you all see me use on a regular basis is metal. And I don't want to tear up this bag any more than it already is. So I'm just going to give this soil inside the bag as I go. Good fertilizer, a good dose of it. And I'm just going to toss it around in the bag. That way, whatever I put in this bag will have nutrients, because I'm sure the potato has already used up all of it. Oh, that looks like yep, that was a nugget. I almost made a mistake and threw a nugget in the soil, and that would have been another potato that grew next year. Another little nugget. Now I am going to put these nuggets in the bag, believe it or not. I did that the other day because I want to see if those potatoes will grow for me, producing potatoes for me next year. Here we go. Now this soil is different than all the other soils that I have in the garden. My potato soil, it feels like it's wood chip, very finely ground wood chip, or leaf mulch, or I should say or leaf mulch. It feels very different. It's much lighter and seems to hold moisture nicely, but not too wringing, sopping wet. A little bit more fertilizer. And I'm seeing more and more potatoes. There we go. And again, I'm going to wash these potatoes off, and I am going to show you what they are. I didn't bring the scale out. Oh, now that one doesn't look so good. Oh, no, maybe. Let's see. I'm going to have to wash it off to give it a good look, but this one doesn't feel spongy, but I don't have my read glass on, but it looks strange. But I'm gonna wash it off and see what it looked like. It might have just been sitting on this seed potato, and so that's why it looks weird. But we'll see. We shall see. Wow, I'm excited. These are much larger than my last potatoes. And what I'll do is, once I get these washed off, I will take them in the house and weigh them. And then I'll let you guys see what the weight is. I'm not going to go through that, bringing the scale outside. I wasn't thinking about it. So I'm not going to do that. right now. I was thinking about brunch. Alright, so I'm just taking the soil inside here. Oh, I found a little nugget in here. Oh my, look at that. I'm just kind of tossing it around, just distributing that fertilizer in the bag. And I found another nugget. Ah, look at that. So excited. I like harvesting potatoes. Okay, I know you guys are probably bored right about now, because I know sometimes attention spans can be like, ugh, really short. So I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to come back to you guys.
Right, as I have promised, I have rinsed off those potatoes and I am weighing them. And I'm going to bring you close so that you guys can see, because I don't like for you to think I'm cheating. It's a little over a pound of potatoes. So that one bag, and that's not even all of the potatoes. I left a few of the little nuggets outside because those are the ones I am going to replant in the bag. But these are the ones I am going to eat. So I'm so excited to have a pound of potatoes in the house for eating. There's a close-up. Look at that. Homegrown new potatoes. There is nothing like it. If you haven't grown potatoes, I say get you some seed potatoes, or if you've got a potato in your pantry that's sprouting, put it outside, grow yourself some potatoes. Happy gardening to you.
Good evening. Welcome back to ClausenWorld. Wind is brutal again. It's just a nightmare here. It's ridiculous. Stuff is blowing around like crazy. I just heard my umbrella just fall over. So I don't know. I think we're going to be getting another storm. Oh, I was right. We've got some really dark clouds up there. So the wind is awful. Like I mentioned, I hope everybody can hear me. I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder. This pot that I have in front of me, I hope you all remember it. I planted it up with some sweet corn, with some beans from out of the kitchen, some pinto beans, and I picked up some of those pickling cucumbers, and as you can see, it is growing. I hope I'm not in the way. I tend to find myself in the way sometimes when I'm looking back at my clips, so I do apologize for that. I am still learning how to do this here thing. So I am uncovering it from the tool, trying not to let the tool fly across the yard. But I'm trying to uncover it. I want to manage this cucumber. And I'm going to show you in just a second. Look at that corn. Isn't it beautiful? Can you see that corn? Look at that. The cucumbers are growing nicely. Very nicely. There's a couple of beat up bits at the bottom. Let me turn this pot around so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Can you see how lovely this cucumber is on this side? And I am going to protect it from the wind. I'm not going to leave it uncovered because I think the tool is the only thing that's kind of sort of kept it protected. But what I want to do is I want to manage this cucumber to the best of my ability. I'm just trying to see how many of them survived in here. I put a few of them in here and they seem, I only see 3. No, there's 4. That one got a little beat up a little bit. I hope you guys can hear me. I want to make sure that it's attaching itself to these sticks instead of just laying down and attaching itself to the tool. So I'm just kind of propping it up a little bit, trying to get it out of the way of the corn. I don't mind it wrapping itself around the corn, but I need the corn to get a little bit bigger. And as I look inside of the pot,
the cucumbers are putting on flowers, and so now that I see flowers, I actually need to leave it uncovered. I'm just going to try to take off some of these dead leaves at the bottom that are turning yellow without hopefully snapping my cucumber. I don't want to damage it in any way. There we go. But I want to get those leaves out of there. Okay, so yes, I've got baby flowers and they need to be pollinated. So I actually need to leave this uncovered. It's past time for me to do that. So let me just kind of weave it in here a little bit. And I need to place it somewhere where hopefully the wind won't destroy it, because the wind has been really, really bad these past couple of days. We've got rain 2 days in a row. It was raining a little bit earlier today. Not a lot, but a little bit. I've got beans growing. I have nasturtiums growing. Now the beans that I put in here were the cowpeas and the pinto beans. I don't know. I know I'm probably in the way. I do apologize, everybody. I don't know which is which, but they will reveal themselves to me when they are ready to do so. But they are growing nicely. So I'm just kind of looking in here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm just trying to look in here. The wind has really battered a lot of the plants. So I'm going to find a place for this in the garden to allow it to get pollinated and grow up. And I think I know where I'm going to put it. I just have to shift some things around. This corn looks amazing. It's so thick. Let me turn this back around. Can you see how thick that stalk of corn is? Man, that looks good. This is my first time trying to grow corn. So we'll see how this goes. But let me find a place in the garden to place this, and that'll be its home permanently until I harvest out of this pot. So before I do that, I want to take you guys over to what I found just a few moments ago. So let me go over there. My pepper plants on top of the table. If you watch my previous videos, you know which peppers I am growing. Over there is the purple bell pepper. I ended up moving these two. This is the jalapeno, and this is the Fresno pepper. I wanted the hot pepper to be on the end. I didn't want to accidentally cross-pollinate, even though it's still possible for that to happen, but I just wanted to see. As I was moving this, don't know if you guys can see that, deep in there. I'll put my finger on it in just a second. Can you guys see that? I have Fresno peppers on here. I found one there. I got another tiny one. Let me see. Right there in my finger. Can you see that? This is my first time growing Fresno peppers, and I was out here just trying to see if the wind was killing it, trying to see if there were any bugs that were eating on it. That was a spider. So I was just trying to see if it was surviving. Oh, look at there, and I have a third right there. I've got a few more little ones popping up. But yes, this is my Fresno pepper, and I'm so pleased with seeing that I have a few Fresnos on this pepper. Very pleased. I didn't look at the jalapeno, but it has a lot of flowers on it. Can you guys see that? Lots of flowers. Since I topped them up, they have been bushing out quite nicely. So that's that. Now let me move this pot to its permanent home before the rain starts again, because the sky is still very dark. And a few moments ago I thought there was lightning, so I don't want to be out here for too long, but I did want to finish these last few pots. You saw me pull out the dandelion from this patch over here. So what I did was I placed that corn and those cucumbers near the cucumbers and corn that's already in this bed growing out of the soil. So I actually had to move a cucumber, shift it. You probably can't see it down there, but I had to shift it So I'm hoping it stays growing on this side of the fence versus the opposite side of the fence. But everything is still looking pretty good. We'll see. I'm just hoping that this will kind of shield it a little bit from the wind. But all I can do is wait and see. The wind is still very brutal, very vicious. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm trying to speak a little bit louder, not too loud that I'm scaring my neighbors. Yeah, you can see the wind is blowing the food. Still blowing it down a little bit. I'm hoping it's not going to all end up laying on the ground, but we'll see how it works out. But I'm so excited to see. You see those flowers back there? The peas are putting on flowers, so I'm hoping to have some peas here pretty soon. We've got the peas have flowers, so it's starting to look really nice. So let me get out of this wind, and I'll see you guys. Well, you know what? I think I have one more thing to show you before I get out of the wind. Let me run over there right. Take the umbrella down because it was uprooted by the wind, and it broke one of the pots over here that I put some lavender in yesterday. I'll have to deal with that tomorrow if the weather is conducive for me to do that. But this pot was covered by the tool, and I need to cover it back up because it has kohlrabi in it. It also has carrots in it as well. So I'm going to try to lift it out of here without making too much of a mess. It is attached to the drip irrigation. There we go. So I'm just trying to finagle it out and not tear up everything like a boom china shop. That's always a possibility. All right. There we go. I moved it because I want to show you guys. Let's see. Let me move you back a little bit so that you guys can see. I moved it because these are carrots. And I totally forgot that I even put carrots in here. I see the wind. I see the tops of one. So I don't know if they are done yet. I know they've been in here for quite some time, and I don't know everything that's in here. Let's see, let me take this off. But I'm going to pull out this carrot because I see a top. Let's see. Push down and give it a wiggle. That helps it get out a little bit easier. Look at that. Look at that. I've got a white carrot. And I think I might have broke off one of its little legs down there. That's okay, I'll get that. But look at that. Save as much rainwater as I can. So whenever I have an empty jug, this was vinegar. Whenever I have an empty jug, I fill it with rainwater and I put it away in my shed for the summertime when it is extremely hot and I don't have access to rainwater like I have right now. You all saw in my previous video. If you haven't watched that previous video, please go back and watch my previous video where I bought two 45-gallon additional trash cans just to fill up the rainwater. Sorry about that, my neighbor's going by. I also have 2 rain barrels, but in the meantime, I didn't want to have barrels everywhere. I got a couple of trash cans until I can get my hands on a few more barrels for my permanent home. But I use these trash cans for right now, and I just fill up the water jug. With this, I just try to get as much water as I can saved and stashed away, because in the summertime there's just never enough water. And it rains less and less. So as much as I've been complaining about the tornadoes and thunderstorms
I love the rain. I love having access to rainwater because there's nothing like rainwater for your plants. So if you can, save rainwater. I know that many people don't have the ability to have maybe a huge trash can because they live in an apartment. Maybe they can only have a small trash can. Maybe they don't have the ability to have a water barrel because on the property they live on, there's just no room. Or fortunately, I live in a rented property where I can have all of this. There's been no issues with it. But if you cannot have any large structures, put out a smaller trash can and save in water jugs. You can save this away in a shed, on a balcony, even in your home. It's not going to take up that much space, and you'll have rainwater for not only your outside plants but your inside plants too. So on to the next thing in the garden. As you know, I have lots of onions. I will be harvesting onions for some time to come. This is the same bucket that I pulled onions out of yesterday, and I have onions today that have fallen over. So I am just going to take them out of this bucket. Remember, if you watch my other 2 onion hauls or onion harvests, you'll know that when that neck bends over, it's time to take them out. And so I have a couple in here where the necks have bent over, and so it's time for them to come out and sit and dry. I'm not going to put anything in this bucket until I harvest probably this last onion right here on this side, and then I'm going to take these onion pieces out and I'm going to spread them throughout the garden because insects don't like the smell of onions, so they leave onions alone. So when this one is ready to go, it probably will be in about another few days, then I will pop this up with something else. But up until then, I'm going to leave this bucket just the way it is. And now I have 3 more onions that I've harvested this week, and I'm so excited. I'm loving harvesting onions, and of course they are not the biggest onions. And as you see, the soil is very moist. They were watered earlier today. Actually 4 more onions. I didn't see that little one laying down there. Even though they're small onions, they cook just the same. They taste just the same. And sometimes the recipe doesn't call for a really large onion, so this is just fine. So I am going to place these on the table. I put them in the shed, but after we had gotten all that rain, the sun came out, so I brought them out, and I'm going to leave them out because I don't think there's going to be anything that is going to mess with them. So let me check to see if I have any more onions to pull out, and then we'll move on to the next thing in the garden.